Hi guys, you're here with old Barry once again, and I want to introduce you to one of the greatest families we've had the privilege of spending a few days with. And without any more delay, I want to just start off with general questions about, because for some of them it was their first time out of the country. And in your own words, briefly say, what did you feel about spending a few days in Cabrera? And I know you're moving on to other parts of the country, which is great. And just maybe kind of pigeonhole it, dovetail it into what do you think was the highlights and the low parts and everything about spending time for. I'll let you guys start it on your own, whoever goes first. Go ahead.
Well, I think for me, one of the biggest things that I enjoyed was definitely meeting all of the people. I think that was definitely something that we were looking forward to, and we were not disappointed at all. Everybody just has this sense of community, and you're treated as a friend rather than a stranger. And that's something that's special that you don't see in places like America, because everyone is so wrapped up in their own world that they just don't even think about the people around them.
You guys, any thoughts on that in terms of, I know you've mentioned many times it's exceeded expectations, and I think you said the bar was raised pretty high to begin with.
I've done a lot of research before we did this trip. I've watched every video, and I watched every video with a lot of skepticism. Is Barry really the guy that, he says he is? Is this country really as beautiful as described? Is Cabrera really an unspoiled paradise? And I was going into this half expecting that a lot of those expectations were set pretty high. But I can honestly say all of those expectations have been exceeded. This is a place I could not even tell you. The pictures and the videos that Barry does, I mean, as well as he does them, they don't do it justice. You have to see it for yourself. The people, they are that friendly. They really are. We've met some great friends, just people, just randomly, that have just been a blessing to us. And we just have really enjoyed our time here.
You met one of my local friends, Jose, and you felt really comfortable in his place. We were sitting in the gazebo. As a mother of two, how would you answer that question?
I was nervous about bringing our teenage daughters here because of what I heard online and had read, that we should be wary and we should not wear jewelry and we should be looking out for their safety all the time. But none of those things have been true. I mean, it's kind of been the opposite, at least here in Cabrera. It's the only place we've really been yet. But the people here in this town are welcoming and friendly, and they say hello with a warm smile. And any effort you make to speak their language or communicate is reciprocated and welcome. And I haven't feared for their safety or my safety or anything like that.
It's a big country, and I always point out in my videos too, it's like where I'm from, Canada's huge geographic size, or even America is quite a bit smaller geographically, but there are good places and there are bad places. And if you go down a street or you're in an area and you look down a street and you don't like what it looks like, well then wouldn't common sense say just don't go down there?
Exactly.
And but as two young ladies, that how did you feel in terms of your safety or in terms of your acceptance in our little region so far? And I know you're traveling to Jarabacoa, is it Las Terrenas? Mm-hmm. And they're going to the lands, Las Terrenas and Jarabacoa. But so far, to start off your first leg, how did you feel as two young women that, were you afraid? Did you feel threatened? Did you feel people are really like, this ain't for me? Or was it the opposite?
Well, the people here are just incredibly nice, and like I love just one of my favorite parts of being here is just going around and driving around and seeing all the people in the country, just sitting outside, everyone just chatting with each other, and I'll just when we go by, I'll just wave to them and I'll just give them a smile and they'll just smile back, and it's such a unique experience to just have that, to just be able to just wave at people and just have a good time with them. And no one I've barely seen any people here on their phones or just in their own little world. Everyone here is has such a big sense of community, and it's so unique here. Everything is, it's not, because it's not controlled. There's so much freedom, and everyone has like their own ways of expressing themselves and showing that off through like buildings and the food here and just everything that they do.
As a young woman, would you feel it'd be hard? This goes to both of you. It's an important question for other people of similar age, and we're not giving out ages, but would you find it to be hard to gel into this community with other people if you did live here, or would you find it be quite easy to gel into the community and become part of it?
Honestly, I don't think it would be very difficult because, like Hannah and I have both said, you're treated as a friend rather than a stranger. It's like they act as if you've known them your entire life. And so I think it would be very welcoming to be able to communicate with these people. And I think the only barrier would be the language, but that's something that we could learn and pick up. And I'm excited to try to learn more of the language so that I can connect with these people.
And time out, this isn't fair because they're both very optimistic, okay? So they can do anything, these two. So I realize that's, but you continue on that because I do want to ask you another question after that one.
Well, we've also met many foreigners here, many of like Barry's friends who are also have had the same experiences as us that have met these people and just been extremely like wowed by how kind they are, and like even if they don't know English, like they will still try to communicate with you as best as they can, and they'll try to really like many people will treat you as a friend.
They're very patient.
Yeah, they are very patient.
Yeah, that comes of yourselves reacting. We talked about this privately to the environment they're placed in. If you're not under 24-hour stress, you have time to look at things differently. But the other thing is about maybe sometimes it's not a problem, but it's an opportunity to learn the language. And I think particularly for younger folks, if you're not bi or trilingual, the future is not looking very positive for professional careers and being able to be employed in various countries. And we've talked a lot over dinners and stuff, which is another thing. They just don't like the food here. There's going to have to be an adjustment with that. Would you care to make any kind of comments about our diet and why we don't take medicines and pills so much?
I have to start. I mean, this is one of my favorite topics. I was looking forward to the seafood. We don't get seafood back home, and I was looking for some of the fresh experience with the seafood. So I was really looking forward to that part of it. But what has surprised me is steaks, pork. Everything that we've ever tried here has been the best. Every time just a chicken, rotisserie chicken off the side of the road, for $4 is the best chicken we've ever had. Every meal seems to supersede the last meal. And we've traveled. I've been in some very nice restaurants in New York and California and Chicago. And so far, I will take this food hands down over anything I've ever had.
At a fraction of the price.
Yeah. You guys agree with that too? I mean, you had no problem with selection and enjoying what you ordered? I know last night was pretty incredible at that little farm restaurant, that little barn restaurant, but aside from that one, the others were good, the fish was good, and you had no trouble adjusting to that?
Definitely, I loved that we all could order different things and just try all these different foods, because even if it's a food that we've had before, I would think, oh, I've already had that. But you haven't, if you haven't had it here, because all the ingredients are fresh and it's made home cooked, and it's just everything tastes so good because it has all the nutrients and the flavor that just doesn't come with the processing in America.
Well, everyone's very chill here. Everything's like homemade, and they'll just, some people don't even have menus. They'll just come up to you and tell you what they have, and then other people will have like 6-page menus with like several different versions of the same thing, but we'll get like the same thing with just like a slight variation. They all taste like completely different.
Do you taste the the difference in the quality between what is packaged and what is, does it bring back memories of the old days?
Yeah, I can't explain it.
Well, I was just going to mention, last night, some of us had steak on our plate for the first time. We tried the beef here, and it's all grass-fed from what I've been told and believed, because the steak just melted in our mouth. It was the best we've ever had. It was fresh, it was juicy. We cleaned our plate.
And you're actually, forgive me, but if I'm not mistaken, because I visited where you live, and we don't need to mention where, but that's part of near the dairy country.
Yeah, we do not have a problem with getting good steaks, good quality steaks, and we pride ourselves on steaks we make ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about the meat here that is quality.
Mm-hmm.
Even the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
We can get rotisserie chicken at Walmart for a couple bucks, and it's fine, but it just doesn't compare. The chicken here tastes better.
Well, on a parting note, a shot across the bow, so to speak, what just not advice, but give us a few parting words from a young perspective and a middle-aged perspective on people that may want to come out to this country or other countries. I never push only this country, and maybe come out and pay a visit and whatever, and consider exiting some of the problems in their home nation. You don't really need to go into that. If you can't see it by now, their delusion is an issue. And what can you maybe give a little suggestion to somebody that might be a little bit timid? Because I know it was your first time out of the nation, and that to me is, I think, the first time out of over 700 trips I've ever met two people that it was their first time away from their home nation. So even for me, that was a special thing.
Well, I think really just one thing that I've told my friends already is that I've learned more in this not even a week than I've learned all year at school, because there's something about being in the place and in the experience that just you can't recreate, you can't learn from a textbook. And I think I would tell people to step out of your comfort zone, because it is something scary and it's something that you might not be familiar with. But the best moments and the most exciting moments in my whole life have been from when I've stepped outside of that comfort zone and have taken risks, because otherwise you're never going to try new things and you're never going to grow as a person.
Can you add anything to that from a young perspective?
Well, so like my sister said, it's a huge learning experience, and I've learned so much from just being in a different country and seeing how people live here, because it's a completely different experience with how things are run here and with how free people can be here, because they don't have as many laws as we have in America. And so that many people think of that as like a bad thing or a scary thing, that people don't have as many laws. But the people here, like, they live the way that they do, and like it's hard to explain. They have such a big sense of like community, and everyone just you pick it up fast, because it's like sometimes it is a little chaotic here, but it's definitely a big sense of like chaotic freedom, because everyone here is just the way that people, like, to me, how people should be, and just like it's very natural, very like intuitive to me.
Excellent. Organized chaos.
Well, not organized chaos, because I feel like in the cities of America especially, it is very organized, very controlled, and everything, like all the streets, you're all going one way, and there's so many rules that go into it. But here, like, because you don't have many rules, like, it is a lot more natural.
You can obviously tell they've been driving around with old Barry for a few days. I've been mentioned that many times before about driving, but that's just how it goes here. After you maybe make a suggestion or two about that, as I would like one final answer from both of you before I cut off. So go ahead with your suggestions, but then I also want you to add in about, as parents of two teenage daughters, would you consider relocation to a place like this? And that would say a lot.
Okay. Well, our goal coming here was to discover if this was a place to live. long term, and not just part term, not just as a vacation destination. And that's really what we want to take away from this trip. And we're only halfway through it. Is this a good place to visit, or is this a good place to live? And we're all trying to figure that out together. My main goal is to provide a refuge for family to visit and to stay with us and to be a part of our future. Not just an escape plan. It's not just a plan B, although I think it could be. It's really, can we make this a true destination for our future?
Was there any last bit of maybe suggestion about people stuck on the fence post, because as parents afraid to pick up with children, and is there anything you can add to that? I mean, what would you tell these people that, oh my God, you're crazy, but they've never been to a country like this?
So we've never done anything quite like this, and we flew into Punta Cana and drove across the country to Cabrera. And it was a long drive, and I'm not sure I would recommend that for everybody, but we were glad we did it. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed the trip as much as the destination, and we had a lot of fun doing it, and we never felt unsafe. We were wondering if this is the time, maybe we should wait until, the world calms down. We just decided there's no sense in waiting. Actually, the cost of waiting is greater than we just doing it.
And actually, from the rudder of the ship, the most important answer, as a mom.
Well, I guess my thoughts are more on just if we would have never brought our family here or anywhere else to check out, we would have never learned. Just simple things like, I think that somebody told me there's like 10 kinds of mangoes or something. So there's so much more than what we knew about, and if we would have just stayed in our safe little corner of the world, which, safe is relative, but we would have never discovered all the things we've learned here. And we're beginning to learn, because we haven't learned that much, but what we've learned, we just want to be more open. We want to learn more. It's just a starting point for the future. And our daughters are really excited about it too. They just appreciate, being able to do this with us, and we feel the same way.
Well, guys, I want to just take a moment to honestly say, Leanne and I have thoroughly enjoyed ourselves, and you brought a lot of knowledge and perspective into my life, and I'm a deep thinker, and sometimes I do lose people with that, but you have given me a great gift of actually catching me up a little bit as to what's happening in other nations, and the greatest gift someone can give you is time. So I want to sincerely thank you for the actually 40 minutes, because the old professional photographer forgot to put on the microphone for the first one. But I do want to thank you very much for taking the time, especially the young folks. And until next time, it's barryindr. We'll talk to you soon.